Ladies and gentlemen, what is fair? What is unfair? What is the truth? I've always been a bit confused about this whole Roman Abramovich situation. And I want to share a couple of news with you guys, and I want to really pose it to you all to let me know how you feel about the recent Roman situation with Chelsea Football Club. And we'll also go through some of the extracts, some of the comments that Thomas Tuchel had to say about the Ricketts family, which is going to be very, very interesting.
All right. Here we go, back again on the other side of the coin.
All right, welcome back to the other side of the coin, ladies and gentlemen. This whole past month, it's really, I don't know about you guys, like it's really opened up my mind about a lot of things and really look into it in a deeper perspective and understand the situation. You know, a lot of people, let's not forget the fact that the 19 years that Roman Abramovich has been the owner of Chelsea Football Club, we've had a lot of joy. We've rejoiced so many moments. A lot of us grew up in this particular era, and some of our happiness, some of our tears were because, what Roman was able to do for Chelsea Football Club. The countless amount of trophies, the brilliant players that have joined Chelsea Football Club, and basically putting us in a map in world football that is now quite prestigious. Chelsea Football Club are looked as a proper brand, and that's why there's quite a lot of bidders out there with a lot of money looking to purchase us. Now, off the back of what has happened in this last month, now that Roman has put the club into sale, these same fans that enjoyed the time for the last 19 years, all of a sudden they've flipped. They've flipped, and it's like, oh, yeah, Roman is a bad guy. It's all sports washing. That's what Roman has been doing. We don't want a particular individual that way. Do you know what I mean? And all of a sudden, everyone's sort of become all conscious about these sort of things. They've become very righteous about this particular topic. And it makes me feel slightly confused about the situation, in the sense that, didn't you know Roman's history? Are you just finding out some of these things about Roman, his links in Russian government, economy, how he built his wealth, and so on and so forth? Did you just find this out now, like in the last week? 19 years ago, before he even bought Chelsea, some of this information was still legitimate back then. Some may agree, some may disagree with the way how he built his wealth during the Soviet Union days, but it is what it is. Saw an opportunity, and that's what he did. But it's the UK government, when he went to purchase Chelsea 19 years ago, they would have known all of this. Wasn't there any fit and proper tests back then? And throughout this 19 years, look at all the people that he's employed. Look at all the people that he was able to, give them a life, I suppose. All the people that are involved with the football club, the millions of fans, all the benefits that UK government got by having Roman as well. The tourism increased to Stamford Bridge. All the help that he's done recently with NHS in the pandemic. It's a lot of money. But as I said, ladies and gentlemen, I want to present this particular two sides of the coin today, and I want you to tell me how you feel about this situation, right? we have this particular news from the Financial Times, which goes something like this. Russian oligarch Roman Abramovich arranged to have a private meeting with President Vladimir Putin the day Ukraine was invaded. According to two people with knowledge of the discussion, Abramovich made a strong case to end the war. This thread from the Financial Times is within the last 12 hours or so. And then you've got this other thread from Maria Pavchik. I'm not really sure what she does, but she must be like a reporter or something. Maria Pavlich has the other flip side of it that is not all about bringing peace and whatnot. He's the one, he's evil, so on and so forth. This is what Maria's approach is. There's an elephant in the negotiation room. Its name is Roman Abramovich. Allow me to give you some context on who this guy actually is and how his participation in the Ukraine-Russia peace talk should be viewed. And Maria goes, let's have a look at Maria's stuff before we go into the Financial Times, and then I'll let you guys decide how you feel about this, because as I said, I'm in a very confused state as to what's going on. So Maria basically goes around saying how close Roman is with Putin and so on. So it seems like we're dealing with a case of mass hypnosis or general memory loss. People are genuinely wondering, is Abramovich a good guy now? Is he a superhero who's going to save us all? There is nothing tricky about the Abramovich situation. There is nothing to discuss or wonder about. I encourage you all to use a simple and straightforward rule. If Putin likes something, it's shit. You don't want it, you should stay away. And Putin likes Abramovich. I mean, her whole approach is, if you're close to Putin, then you're a bad man. And I don't know if it's as straightforward as that. Do you know what I mean? Roman Abramovich is the reason why Putin is still in power. He plays a crucial role in sustaining Putin's regime for the past 22 years. Abramovich is Putin's ultimate wallet, the ultimate source of bribes, a person who can hold and control strategic assets of Putin's behalf. Now, this particular thing is a common theme across many publications that I've read recently, right? There's a lot of oligarchs in Russia. It's not just Roman. There's plenty that are even more wealthier than Roman Abramovich, way, way more wealthier than Roman Abramovich. And apparently, the whole situation in Russia is that Putin uses these people as his wallet. Like, he makes sure that through the wealth that these oligarchs have, they fund his economy or means to run the country. And this thread pretty much goes on to talk about all of this scenario. As you can see here, all the different oligarchs. Roman is 14.1 billion. There's other people that are out there with a lot more money in terms of Russian oligarchs. But Maria goes on to say that the way Roman built up his wealth was illegitimate. The way he has been, he's not a saint. He is very close to Putin, so on and so forth. And he's the one who's a main culprit in orchestrating all of this. And he's a puppet of Putin. Now, Financial Times, however, as you can see here, ladies and gentlemen, Russian oligarch Roman Abramovich arranged to have a private meeting with President Vladimir Putin the day Ukraine was invaded. According to two people with knowledge of the discussion, Abramovich made a strong case to end the war. Here's the story. We'll have a look into this particular article. I'm not going to go through everything in the article. It's a pretty big article. I would suggest you guys go and check this out. This is in the Financial Times. If you go to the Financial Times Twitter page, you'll find that article. But the thread goes on to say, Abramovich's unusual intervention was risky. Putin has described Russians who opposed the invasion as scum and traitors. However, the Russian leader gave his personal blessing for Abramovich to act as a mediator in peace talks, sources say. Goes on to say, a frenzied 5-week odyssey began where Abramovich has crisscrossed the region, simultaneously trying to protect his fortune from Western sanctions while promoting a peace process to end the war. Now, This is the other factor, ladies and gentlemen, that the article goes on to talk about. And many people that were interviewed for the particular article, people like Erdogan, the Turkish president, and many other very important figures. And they say, well, was it to save his personal assets that he was trying to do the peace talks with Ukraine, or was it genuinely to save Ukraine? Now, bottom line is, either or. Even if you're trying to save your assets, but in return, it's creating a positive to end the war, who cares? And it's not just Roman. Obviously, all of these oligarchs, they've built an empire outside of Russia. And in one day, it's, everywhere around the world, a lot of the countries, especially in Europe, has put a sanction on it. So obviously, it's in their best interest to also find peace. I'm going to showcase a few things in the article, which goes on to say that not all the Russians nor the oligarchs are in line with Putin and his vision. So we'll have a look into that. The invasion of Ukraine has completely disrupted Abramovich's carefully constructed life in the West, which he had managed to insulate from the controversies about how he made his money following the collapse of the Soviet Union. UK and EU sanctions have forced Abramovich to put Chelsea Football Club up for sale, race to super yachts across open seas to seek refuge in Turkey, and reportedly attempt to withdraw vast sums from global asset managers. While attempting to protect his fortune and battle sanctions against him, Abramovich has been conducting his own back-channel shuttle diplomacy, with the full story here. Now, this is the particular article. Look, as I said, I'm not going to go through the entire thing. Poison planes and Putin, Abramovich race to save a fortune and stop the war. I mean, this man got poisoned, ladies and gentlemen, in order to bring peace and this peace talk. But the whole article goes on to talk about how Roman got his, wealth during the early 90s, by buying some of the state-owned assets for very, very cheap, illegitimately, whatever the case is, being opportunistic. It goes on to talk about, how Putin uses these, oligarchs. And it talks about a lot of stuff, agendas about this peace. It talks about many things, but the most important thing that I want to, and it also goes on to say how the Ukrainian president, Zelensky, has actually said to the US government not to put a sanction on Roman. Roman's the only, out of all the oligarchs, apparently, Roman's the only one that's actually trying to bring peace. All the other oligarchs are like, whatever, do you know what I mean? And Roman, yes, he is very close to Putin. This article goes on to say a lot of people have admitted that he's very close. And Putin trusts him as well. But he's the one who's actually trying to bring an end to this whole situation. And he talks about his background, how he was orphaned. His mother is actually Ukrainian. Do you know what I mean? So talks about his connections with Israel and whatnot. But the most important thing that I want to share with you guys, ladies and gentlemen, and then we'll talk a little bit about the Chelsea situation, obviously the Thomas Tuchel stuff as well, is the oligarchs have lost everything. I just want to point this out. Western officials say the unprecedented sanctions are partly designed to turn Russia's oligarch against Putin, yet after 5 weeks of war, none of them have publicly condemned him. I mean, publicly condemning him, I don't understand. Will that stop the war in Ukraine or whatnot? The oligarchs had more power when they had assets in the West. Now they're totally dependent on Russia. They lost everything except for their Russian assets. Another person close to Abramovich says they are hostages. Before they could live in the West and had more freedom, now they have to listen to Putin. I guess, yeah, now that all their assets are all blocked off, now they have to listen to Putin. It's not as easy as to go out there and just say whatever you need to say. Abramovich, too, has refrained from explicit criticism of Putin's war. But in the first week of the invasion, this is what I wanted to point out. His daughter, Sofia, 27, she had a post on Instagram that read, The biggest and the most successful lie in Kremlin's propaganda is that the most Russians stand with Putin. This article goes on to say, never has Roman actually orchestrated this war. Like, Roman has never said, go out there and invade Ukraine. He seems to be guilty by association. Because Putin uses all the money of all these oligarchs, that's why he's in this mess that he's in. As I've always said, I'm not saying Roman Abramovich is a saint. He's probably involved with many shady things in the background, no doubt. But don't think he's the man who's orchestrating the war in Ukraine. He's the man who's trying to bring peace. The matter is very complex, ladies and gentlemen. This whole history behind Russia and Ukraine is very deep. And America is involved in it as well. It's funny how the UK government is imposing all these sanctions on Roman, yet the US government don't have the sanctions on Roman. Roman goes to the US a lot. He's been spending time since the UK government stopped letting him in. And this is what the article goes on to say. Since the UK government has stopped letting him in UK, he's been spending a lot of time in Israel and US. So the bottom line in regards to this, before we move on to the Thomas Tuchel story, is that, ladies and gentlemen, what is the final statement in all this? Us fans, are we okay with the fact that Roman is going the way he's going? Are we okay with it? I mean, is he too controversial, I suppose, of a figure to have as a Chelsea owner now? Did we not know about all of this before, or is it now it's come to a situation where okay, fine, yes, we did know, we didn't take any action, but now we want to take action? He's too controversial. He can't be Chelsea owner. Is that what it is down to? Is the whole situation a bit unfair, the way he's losing Chelsea Football Club? I don't know. I feel very strange about this whole situation. People talk about sports washing and whatnot, and using Chelsea as a means of hiding all his other activities, I suppose. And maybe there is some truth to it, but which owner out there isn't doing that? We're now starting to find out all the different bidders that Chelsea have shortlisted and their story and their truth. All of them are involved in a lot of mess. Recently, we heard about Sir Martin Broughton and his involvement in Burmese army and whatnot. Stephen Paluka and his involvement in other, stuff which has been brought up by the UK government themselves. The Ricketts, needless to say. I think just to sit here and say that Roman is solely involved in the whole war against Ukraine is just mad. And I think that's the point that I'm trying to make here. But let me know, ladies and gentlemen, let me know how you feel about this whole situation. Yeah, I feel like the way it's been stripped off him now, I don't know if that is legitimate by the UK government. All right, let's move on to the next story, ladies and gentlemen. Thomas Tuchel, at the end of the press conference, there is a section where the news reporters, they get to ask certain information, certain questions. And one of the things that Thomas Tuchel was asked about was the Ricketts, the No to Ricketts protest. Adam Newson, Thomas Tuchel and Chelsea fans' No to Ricketts protest. This is what Thomas Tuchel had to say, ladies and gentlemen. You have to face the consequences if you are responsible for these kind of quotes. You have to face the consequences if you are responsible for these kind of quotes. You have to face the consequences if one of the consequences is the fans do a protest or give their opinions. You have to deal with it. Ladies and gentlemen, that's strong words from Thomas Tuchel, even though it's quite straightforward and maybe at at a certain degree, a bit subtle as well, the underlying message, but it's deep. The way I look at this is he's trying to say, you're going to do something wrong, you better face up to the music. Get ready to dance, my man. And it kind of also gives me the, I suppose, the vision, the vibe that he's probably not too keen with these people. Because these are strong words. Like, you have to face the consequences. If one of the consequences the fans do a protest or give their opinions, you have to deal with it. That's strong words for a particular consortium that could potentially be your owner. It gives me the indication that he does not fancy these guys. And if they come through, I feel like Thomas Tuchel might just walk. Because there's just too much drama with the Ricketts. And I don't blame him. Thomas Tuchel is one of the finest managers out there, and he'll get a job in a top club easy. Man United. They've been talking a lot of crap lately, and they would be all over Thomas Tuchel. And this is where the whole Ricketts situation, just multitude of the situation just magnifies even more. Not only they have all the history with the racism and a whole heap of other stuff that's gone around with the Ricketts, and there's a list, and they run their Chicago Cubs in a poor manner. But it's the consequence of bringing them in with the likes of Thomas Tuchel. Maybe some of our top players might leave. And that in itself will start seeing a decline in Chelsea Football Club. And I'm worried about that. Tuchel continued, I hope it will not disturb the team and the fans who support. Remember, we have a team who is challenging in 3 competitions in a crucial moment of the season, and don't distract them in their approach to the stadium or in the stadium during the game. And this is true. This is what I was worried about, the whole protest thing. I wonder, obviously, ladies and gentlemen, big protest happening. If you're at the game, please make it a peaceful protest, but at the same time, make yourself heard. 12 p.m. UK midday, an hour before the game against Brentford, Stamford Gate, there's going to be a protest. Make sure you're there. Make sure you're heard. This is an opportunity for us to make a change. But at the same time, ladies and gentlemen, be very, very mindful that there is a game that's going to happen, and the players, don't block them off. Let them go into the stadium. Let them prepare. It's important. We're coming into an important phase of the season, whereas Thomas Tuchel said we're challenging for 3 competition. Premier League, we're not challenging for the Premier League, but at least top 4. Make sure we knuckle down the top 3, and then obviously FA Cup and Champions League, huge. We could potentially win them. But, ladies and gentlemen, this situation that Thomas Tuchel has just sort of pointed out, people like Bruce Buck, they need to be very careful of what they're doing. Their close relationship and trying to engineer meetings and whatnot for the Ricketts, the Rain Group. I hope the Chelsea board, they're on top of it, and they have an eye on Bruce Buck as well. It's not just about giving the ownership to Ricketts. It will have extreme detrimental consequences. And we will lose a lot of good people. One of the people we can't lose is Thomas Tuchel. There's a whole Antonio Rudiger situation, Aspilicueta. Hopefully he's staying. But if this goes south, we don't know what's going to happen. And then obviously there's the fans. We're going to be disgruntled. So yeah, ladies and gentlemen, let me know what your thoughts are in regards to these 2 topics that we've raised. The Roman one, I'd love to know the 2 sides of the coin about Roman Abramovich. How do you feel? And obviously Thomas Tuchel. How important is that statement coming from Thomas Tuchel? Do we now understand the severity of potentially bringing in someone like the Ricketts? Ladies and gentlemen, hope you guys have enjoyed this. Smash the like button if you have. If you're here for the first time, subscribe. Hit the bell notification to stay in touch with all my content. Until next time, see ya.